we want to retrieve data from Weaviate. We'll open up VS Code again, collapse our init, client, and import functions, and get rid of this line. We'll create another function called fetch data. We won't take any parameters. As usual, we'll initialize a connection to our client with our init client function, and then we'll create a variable called wiki to interact with our collection. We'll say client.collections.get. Our collection name is Wikipedia, and then from that variable wiki, we can define a variable called response and make calls to Weaviate. And so say wiki.query.fetch objects. And we don't want to fetch 10,000 objects. And so we'll limit this to 5 objects. And we'll console.log this response, say items from Weaviate. And the second parameter will be response.objects. Just edit this, fix the typo, and we'll await fetch data. And we'll go into our terminal and run our import file. And so we scroll here and we see our objects that we inserted. We see 5 objects, properties, URL, and title. And so these are 5 objects from Weaviate returned to us. Alternatively, we could fetch objects based off ID. So I'll copy this ID of history of Spain and say fetch objects by ID, get rid of all of this, and paste in the ID of the object that we want to fetch. And then we'll return that item. So when we go back to VS Code, we can run our import.ts file, and we could see we have the history of Spain fetched by its UID. We could also filter. So I'll undo all these changes. And here we could say filter, and we could apply a filter. We want to filter by property name, and we choose to filter on the title property, and we'll use the like filter and include anything that is like Spain. Then we'll add parentheses here and go into our terminal and make a call. And so we can see now that we get all the objects, or at least 5 objects, that have something like Spain in their title. So solar power in Spain, little Spain, and Spanish football. We could take this a step further and make this fetch objects a semantic search. So we'll get rid of fetch objects and replace it with near text, and we'll pass in a search query. So we'll do something similar, say Southern Europe. And what near text does is it runs a vector search, which is a search that works on similarity rather than doing a keyword match. And so before I save this, I want to limit this also to 5 objects, and then we'll go into our terminal and run this, and so we can see items related to southern parts of Europe. And that is how you fetch objects and run a vector search in Weaviate.